Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Korea Society. My name is Luce Lanzat. I'm a program officer here, and welcome to the fourth session in our K-pop 101 series, K-pop and social media. We're delighted to have two enthusiastic K-pop experts who work in media here tonight. First, we have Beatrice Vanterpool. She's the Content Insights Associate and runs K-pop partnerships at Tumblr. She works on Tumblr's fandom metrics and specializes in fandom's influence across social media. She's been featured in Billboard, Forbes, and Soompi, and also interviewed artists including Pentagon, Infinite L, Tiffany Young, and Momoland. Sarah Han is a BuzzFeed writer who loves gushing about K-pop and all things related to makeup and skincare. Some of the artists she's interviewed include BTS, Red Velvet, Pentagon, NCT 127, Card, Stray Kids, and Eric Nam. While she's waiting for Red Velvet to recruit her as their sixth member, you can find her binging various K-dramas, watching K-pop stage mixes, and going down rabbit holes of variety shows, artist interviews, and V-Lives. Please give a warm welcome to our speakers. So welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. So my first question is, when and why did you decide to work in media?
So in college, I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I was trying to figure that out. I majored in international studies, which is kind of just like a mixture of like history, poli-sci, that sort of thing. And I was like kind of writing poetry in my free time, and I was like, oh, I really like this because like my whole life I've kind of like been really bad at like talking. Like I've been a really quiet person. So then like I found that like writing was like sort of my outlet of like, oh, I can actually be eloquent, like and like plan out what like I'm gonna say. And yeah, when I got into like K-pop and beauty, which are like my two main interests, I was like, well, that's the perfect intersection because there are a lot of like writing opportunities for that. So that's kind of. And then, yeah, I like looked into a lot of opportunities and I decided to move to New York because I was in Chicago before. And yeah, that's kind of like the short story of how I'm here now.
So for me, I figured out that I wanted to do journalism in high school. And so I went to college, and that was my major all throughout college. And once I left college, I decided I didn't want to be a journalist anymore. So I ended up doing some PR work and then ended up in marketing. And I went to Facebook, which is where I worked before Tumblr, and kind of really liked the social media thing. And so I ended up at Tumblr. I followed my boss over and really loved it. I ended up doing a lot of the data stuff, crunching numbers in addition to, being a social media manager. And so that's kind of how I fell into it, was journalism.
Great. So can you share with us your first experience with K-pop?
Oh, man. So I moved to New York just about 3 years ago, a little bit more now. And like I grew up like with a lot of, like I grew up pretty like in like a kind of like small but tight-knit like Asian or Chinese community mostly. And I remember like in middle school and high school, like people, that's when like they were really, like a lot of people were like obsessed with like SHINee and everything, but like I didn't really like pay them in mind because I was like, I can't understand what they're saying. But then when I moved to New York, I guess like, I don't know, I had more time on my hands and I was like, okay, let me like look up some K-pop stuff. So I basically felt, I don't really know what like the factors were that like led me to it, but like basically like it was a really hard time because I previously had lived in Illinois my whole life, and I like finally moved for this internship, like super like fast turnaround, and I was just like really confused in my life. So I kind of turned to like YouTube and like K-pop for some reason, and like just fell in love with it since because I think like I just like really admired their work ethic, like all of the K-pop idols. And I was like, well, if they can go through all these years of hardship, then like I can get through this move. And like not knowing what I want to do after this internship. Yeah, I basically like started by watching like Big Bang, literally went through their entire YouTube, like everything, every video that I had on YouTube, and then like slowly branch out into other groups and just I don't know. I've always loved pop music, so it's kind of like I don't know, like
A natural progression.
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories of people using K-pop as inspiration and kind of like self-music therapy,
Yeah.
myself included. So thank you.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So for me, I had a very, very persistent coworker at Facebook. She was super, super into BTS. And so she was like, you have to listen to the song. And it was Dope. I can't even tell you the year 2015, 2016, whenever Dope came out. And I did not want to listen to it. I knew friends in college that were super into Shiny, and I was like, I don't know what they're saying. Like, I'm not going to get it. The lyrics aren't going to resonate with me. And she was like, just watch it once, and I will leave you alone. So she sat there until I watched it, and I was like, this is good. Like, they're talented. Obviously, they're super talented. And I went home, and it was just stuck in my head. And I was like, I'll listen to it one more time. And then I just had it on loop for like 8 hours straight. And
Which song was this?
It was Dope.
Oh, I thought you was talking about Shiny. Okay.
Sorry.
No.
No.
Yeah, Dope. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Shiny came way later. And then from BTS, I kind of like went through their entire discography, and I was, that person that was like, never gonna love another K-pop group. It's just gonna be BTS, and that's gonna be it for me. I'm not gonna listen to anybody else. And then I like came across a Jackson video on YouTube and discovered GOT7, and I was like, this is great. I need more. And so just kind of kept going from there. I ended up my whole team got laid off from Facebook. So at that time, K-pop was like it was just a happy place. And so I really dove in deep, while I was looking for jobs. And yeah.
If it's one thing about K-pop fans, we love proselytizing about our faves. Like we love making non-K-pop fans sit and watch our favorite videos. Like I don't know what it is. We're like free marketing for the companies.
They know you're going to like it. Yeah.
And just like when you love something, like you want to share it.
Yes.
Like even before K-pop, like if I came across a song that I really liked, I would want to like share it with my friends. And now it's just like videos.
And now it's so easy to share content.
Yeah.
Which we're going to get into that. So have you noticed a change in the attitude towards K-pop coverage on your platform due to recent successes such as BTS?
For sure. Yeah, I think like it's made enough of an impact, just like other outlets covering it, that like there are not a lot of K-pop fans, I would say, at least writers at BuzzFeed, but like they've taken notice because like the few things that have been written like haven't like have like been like because sharing is a huge metric that we like keep track of, and like K-pop like posts always like because the fan base is so big, so like it's a lot of fans sharing it, so they've taken notice. And yeah, especially with BTS does really well for us because like they're the most well-known group, at least for us.
So rather than clicks, shares is the way that you measure like how successul.
Yeah, I think because for BuzzFeed, like I think that's what it was like built on, kind of just like sharing. So because I mean we promote them on like our social channels, but I think the fans are what like makes like different like articles or videos actually like succeed and like do really well. Yeah.
On Tumblr, it's going to sound weird, but not so much because it's always been big. Like Tumblr's always loved K-pop. We've been tracking year-over-year metrics for K-pop for at least 6 years with our year in review stuff, and it's always been super huge. I think lately, maybe the employees at Tumblr are starting to realize, like, oh, K-pop is really, really huge on our platform. And so once I came on 2 years ago, we had never really done a lot of K-pop stuff on our social channels. I was like, just try some fan art. Like, this is really good Jimin fan art. Try this fan art. And it was the top performing tweet of the entire year right there.
Wow.
And so they were like, okay, we'll give you free reign. Like, do whatever you want. And so I just kept, like, I was like, we should do birthdays. Like, we do actor birthdays. We do other musical artists. Like, why not K-pop? And so they made me sit down and list out, like, the top 100 K-pop members. And they were like, all right, you get BTS, you get EXO. That's all you can get. We're not a K-pop site. And so I was like, fine. So, and those are, like, our top performers. I think our Jungkook birthday is...
I was just going to bring that up.
It's the top performing tweet of all time on Tumblr.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're talking about like measuring, success and measuring impact. So could you tell us more about Fandometrics, about this tool and the role in creating fans?
Yeah. So Fandometrics is we like to call it the pleasingly scientific ranking of the fandoms on Tumblr. So what it takes into account, it takes in original posts, reblogs, likes, and searches. So we take all of those numbers, you add them all up, and then you get like a very long spreadsheet of all the tags that people use. And so that's how we do fandometrics every week. And BTS is actually currently the biggest thing. We just came out with our year in review list for this year, and BTS was the top tag of absolutely everything above every TV show, every movie, every person. That was what it was. So
could you give us some numbers, like about how many K-pop blogs there are, or the number so BTS is the number one for the year. Mm-hmm. So just can you give us some ballpark numbers about what kind of benchmarks they set on the platform?
We don't go by blogs per se. Like we wouldn't count the number of BTS blogs, but we go by tags. So how many times a person uses a tag. Off the top of my head, God, it was like an insanely huge number, maybe like 30% of, don't quote me on this, I remember like a really big number, something like 30% of all the conversation at one point on the site was about BTS, which was insane. But it makes sense when it's like the top thing on all of Tumblr for the entire year. It's just people talking about BTS. It's talking about their members, their songs, like gift sets and stuff like that. Yeah.
Gift sets are so interesting.
I love gift sets.
Yeah, these like people curate the color based or action based. It's so fascinating, like how much effort fans will put into creating aesthetically pleasing content to like reinforce your love. So it's really fascinating. So Sarah, how is BuzzFeed a unique platform for fans to interact and consume K-pop content?
So like basically, BuzzFeed community is basically like anyone can create an account and like make posts or quizzes. And there's a lot of K-pop fans in the community. What do you call it? Like group or whatever. And a lot of them make quizzes and just like, oh, who is your like ideal type, or like even just like go shopping for like at like Forever 21 and we'll tell you who your BTS soulmate is. Like there's so many quizzes like that. And like those take off too, because we do have like staff that are dedicated to BuzzFeed community and like promoting those. And that's where we get some of our biggest like social lifts on Twitter. I asked one of our social media strategists, and like Twitter and YouTube are like our biggest fan bases, or like for K-pop specifically. So yeah, like a lot of those, like even if they don't get like a lot of views, like traffic wise, like they will be shared like crazy. And yeah, so I think there's a lot more to be explored. I think like video wise, the LA team has been doing a lot of K-pop content because it always depends on like who like on staff cares about it. So in LA, we have like a video producer who's like very, I think he used to work for like CJ E&M, like the US division. So like he's been doing a lot of content with them, just like using like even like we don't even have to think of like new video like formats. It's kind of just like we have like the puppy interview and like I forget what else. There's like a Sims series where like people create characters on that, and Day 6 recently did that, and like those just always do well.
Was it Super Junior did like a Would You Rather?
Yeah, right? They did that, and so did EXID.
They did it,
yeah. So a lot of because most of our video team is based in LA, so there's a lot of opportunity in that. And
I think that's super smart. Like you said, there's a lot of opportunity because I mean, Korean variety shows, they give the fans such a variety of options to see their faves doing like games and competitions and doing fun things. So I think, we don't have that so much anymore, or ever really. I mean, I'm trying to think like when we could see, our favorite celebrities, faking getting married and doing games together and stuff. I think maybe like Whose Line Is It Anyway, or like something like that. Mm. But yeah, I think like the puppy interview, the Would You Rather, like just bringing that element of it is I think a really good opportunity for fans. So you mentioned quizzes. You mentioned fan art, the Jimin fan art that blew up. There's also fan fictions. So all of these, fan created contents are shared in great numbers. So how do you assess these kind of fan created arts as like a feedback mechanism for K-pop entertainment companies? Meaning, fans will tell the companies through their art, what their favorite aspect of this member is. So how did you assess that?
I think it shows companies what fans want. It's like a really great way to be like, hey, a fan wants, I'm going to go to crack videos now. This is where we're going to go. So like fans like making crack, you know what a crack video is?
Yes. Do you guys know what crack videos are?
For anyone that doesn't know what a crack video is, it's basically like a compilation of variety shows or like stuff from outtakes from a music video, and they'll jam it together and like, God, these are so hard to explain, but it's like a lot of loud noises, a lot of like your favorites doing really weird, stupid things into like a 3-minute video. And they're super funny. And like companies have started making these now. Like my favorite example of that is Beat Interactive, the company behind Ace.
Okay.
They make crack videos for Ace, and it's super fun, and they're like not bad at it. But like they saw that, hey, like fans are making these, like let's make these and see how they do. So I think I'm sorry, I had another one.
Oh, what?
Sometimes in fan out, like someone will be like, I want to see them wearing this, and then you'll see that like on stage.
Oh, really?
Like people are taking things into account, like we want this aesthetic on this person.
That's what I was gonna say. They say, oh, I like this hair color on this member, I like this style, and this, that's like free direction for the artistic team.
Yeah. I don't know. It's such a fan-catered industry. Like even like M2 has like the fan cams for like specific members.
Right. That's like that's so fascinating in K-pop. So like imagine being a performing artist and knowing that anytime you perform, there's gonna be a camera not only on the whole group but just on you. So like any mistake that you make is there. Any wardrobe malfunctions, those are.
There was a really great one a few days ago. It was EXID. Hani like tripped on stage, and it was the cutest thing ever. Like she tripped and was kind of like, and just cracked up the entire rest of the stage.
Also, like that's how they became popular, because it's like
fan cam. Yeah. Honey's like we are fan cam. Just like blew up, and their popularity soared. Yeah, and I mean, and it's not just video. Like there's lyric videos. So there are K-pop fans all over the world who speak a multitude of languages, and they volunteer their time, whether it's on YouTube doing lyric videos or on V Live creating subtitles for the streams, and If you could calculate the hours that fans work, it's like a full-time job sometimes.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, if colorcodedlyrics.com did not exist, I don't know where I would be.
It's like my favorite website.
So those are the fun parts of K-pop, but we can't talk about social media and K-pop without talking about the not so great parts. So sometimes there can be fan wars, toxicity and fighting. So what advice would you give to fans that are interacting with each other online to avoid this kind of situation?
I think just like remember that they're your faves, and remember that the people that you're talking to love them, equally as much as you do. Like we're not here to fight, we're here to form a community, and we're here to talk about the things that we love.
And like specifically in like the journalism world, like obviously we would love to talk about any groups, like anything that we want to, but like when you work for a company, there are certain like factors that like come to play, like who will perform well and like things like that. So it's just like it's not that like we're purposely trying to like avoid talking about certain groups. It's just like there are just so many great groups to talk about, and like we're trying to get to all of them, sort of deal.
Personal biases don't really come into it that much.
I think it's really interesting. Journalists for certain popular groups such as BTS, their fans are very passionate, and so if they perceive that a journalist is not portraying them in the light that they want them to, it can get really nasty, and I think there needs to be a better understanding of how journalists work in general, because I think a lot of people don't realize journalists don't choose the photo that's used with the article. They also don't choose the headline, because sometimes you'll click on something on Twitter and it'll have a totally different headline when you actually get to the website, which can be kind of frustrating. But I think, like you said, people feel really passionate about their favorites. So if you think like for example, I'm a recent XOL. I'm so happy to learn about, I'm getting into the XOL fandom. You think about how happy their music and their personalities make you. And so it's like, if someone else can find that happiness in a different group, that's a beautiful thing. That's something that should be celebrated. And I think, there's so much diversity and so many different types of styles of music and dress, and the companies all have something different to offer. So I think it's a plus for fandom, for people to be multi-fandom. So I hope that, as fandoms get older and, we can hope that it gets better.
Oh, I know. It makes it so much of it's a much richer experience. It's like learning about a different culture. Like, it just makes your life that much richer.
Have you guys learned any Korean?
Very little. Ask me to say anything.
Not really. And a lot of people told me that like knowing Chinese, like Korean should be pretty easy to pick up. I'm just like, you overestimate my language abilities. I went to Seoul like 2 months ago, and all I said was like "감사합니다" like every time.
That's a good one.
Like, literally, that's all I said. And I know like "저기요" because it's like set up, which is "excuse me" or something.
Oh yeah.
To get like a waiter's attention and stuff.
Yeah. Also, because I dropped my like Metro card or something, and I didn't notice, and someone picked it up for me, and like told me that, and I was like, oh, I know what you're saying. And then I said "감사합니다," and that was it.
So we have a Korean language program here, and a lot of our students are just K-pop fans that really want to understand the lyrics better. They want to be able to like write comments to their face on their B Live.
Yeah. So
it's really interesting to see, like myself personally too, when I got into K-pop, it made me want to learn Korean, and that's a beautiful thing. So you not only get to interact with fans online, but you get to also attend events like KCON. So could you tell us a little bit about what it's like to interact with K-pop fans in person versus online?
I think in person, like obviously people are excited online, but just to see that, like everyone's dancing at KCON, everyone's screaming and everyone's happy, and like people they'll just walk right up to you. Like if you're wearing a certain shirt, like I love that group, let's talk about it right here, right now. Yeah. People are just very more open.
Yeah, I'm really glad KCON exists because it's just like a space where K-pop fans can like come together and just kind of fangirl, fanboy, whatever, like together. And just like the enthusiasm that you see, like even during the day when it's just like the like festival part, like before the concert, like people are just so excited. They're like coming out for all the panels that they do and like the meet and greets. And yeah, the energy is just really high. And I'm glad that New York's only like a few years old, but I'm glad like we have it here now. And
Yeah, the first time I went to KCON, I said, "Oh my God, this is my tribe."
That's
how I felt.
Exactly.
And the random play dance it's like my favorite. It's like the highlight of my year, honestly, to be able to just like dance with strangers to choreo and then like stop. It's really fun. Quick question. So if you had to introduce a friend who didn't know K-pop, what song would you choose to introduce them?
Oh, I got mine.
You have yours.
Okay,
It's always going to be The Seventh Sense by NCT U.
Oh, that's a great pick.
That is a great song.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying it's interesting.
Yeah.
Just calm down. Why? Yeah.
I feel like it was actually one of the first songs I heard like post BTS Haze. And I was like, what is it? I heard in a BTS Crack video. And I was like, what is this? And I like went to their video and I was like, all right, here we go. And there wasn't a whole lot about NCT back at that time. So I didn't have much to go off of from there for them, but like, it really hooked me.
Yeah, it's a real vibe song that and it's a very unique sound in K-pop. It's something that I think American audiences particularly like can relate to, the hip hop sound. How about you, Sarah? I'm putting you on the spot.
I guess maybe Bang 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 by Big Bang. Cause gotta stay true to my K-pop roots. But cause I think that song's just like really hard hitting, like high energy, and and like I think that would kind of like, if people have like preconceived notions about K-pop, I feel like that song would kind of like break those notions, especially if they see the music video, because that music video is lit. And like they're just such like a kind of like experimental group to begin with, so I feel like that would be a good song.
So speaking of music videos, K-pop is so visual. When people talk about like K-pop is not really a genre, it's kind of like more of an industry. There's, the visual, there's styling, there's makeup, there's hair. So how do you think like having such an amazing, like aesthetically pleasing visual like helps with spreading and creating new fans? Because YouTube is like, YouTube is K-pop is YouTube basically, aside from other platforms, but it's the main platform by where new people discover K-pop with reaction videos and things like that. So
I think the look just kind of hooks you. Like, say that you're scrolling through like Twitter or Facebook or something like that, and you come across one of these videos without sound. You'll see this and you'll be like, well, this is really beautiful. What are these boys? What are these girls? Like, what are they doing? Why are they dancing around in unison in like these beautiful outfits, and their makeup is better than mine will ever be? Like, let me click this and see what this is.
True. Yeah, the aesthetic component I think is really important because that's basically why I got into K-pop, because like I've always loved music, but that was just an additional element, and like they just like throw all their money into these like movie like music videos, and they like pay so much attention to like every like comeback concept and everything, and just really it just helps you, like obviously the music is amazing, but that additional element, like the visual element, just draws you in even more, because then you're just like you want to keep watching these music videos and like live performances, everything like that. So yeah.
I think back in college, like when I had no idea what K-pop was, when Psy's Gangnam Style came out, the version with Hyuna, that video, my mind was so blown at like the production quality of this video. I made my journalism professor play it in class for everybody.
That's amazing.
Just because it was that good.
Yeah.
And everybody was
and
like equally as blown as I was, yeah.
And I remember like besides like the virality, is that what's
virality? Virality?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Like, I also saw a lot of articles that are just like, oh, like they address a lot of like social issues because it's about like this very like, because in the music video he's just like he pretends to be this like rich person, but then he has like trash like blowing his face, and it was just like a social commentary on like Korean like society and like Gangnam, like the district and whatever. So I was like, oh, like there's more meaning behind this than like just like a funny like dance.
Right. Yeah. And it's very popular. It's been for a while now in the different generations for the groups to have kind of like their own universe and canon and stories that flow through their music videos, and combine that with the production, and that's just, you hook people for life.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how would you like to see K-pop coverage improve in the future? How do you think the industry can improve in how they cover K-pop?
I think it's really tough to like put out an article and then have a lot of backlash because it wasn't like straight PR, like you weren't saying super positive things, but like people really have to remember that journalism is at its core objective. Mm-hmm. So you have to remain objective. So if like this wasn't that great, like, hey, it's room for the group to improve, or, feedback. But I think that like journalists shouldn't be afraid to kind of just be honest.
Yeah. Especially coming from like people, especially like us who actually interact with K-pop on a daily basis and love to listen to it and like all that stuff. Like we're not coming from like a bad place. We're not trying to like criticize these groups. It's all constructive, I think.
It's art, everybody has different taste. And like you said, constructive criticism. I mean, if you just say, oh, everything's great, there's no growth opportunities there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I will say that I think like Asian media, like not just Korean, like they try to be very like too positive all the time. Like they don't like, they kind of censor like negativity. And I hope that like Korean labels like recognize that like PR here or like marketing like works a little differently, and like we can't just be positive 100% of the time, because like I don't know, I think there's just like room for compromise basically, and like understanding, and like when you're coming here, like it's a different media landscape.
Yeah, I'm hoping next year to have like covering K-pop, having several journalists here to talk about that, because I think the difference between PR and journalism is vast, but I think, for most fans, they don't understand that. So they're expecting like hype pieces,
Exactly.
they want their faves like shouted out like every moment. That was great. So, I mean, I can understand that passion, but yeah, I would hope that in the future, people can feel more comfortable being honest about what they felt about the art and, move forward. I mean, if somebody doesn't like your favorite, that's okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Everyone has their opinions.
Yeah. So you have both been fortunate enough to meet a slew of K-pop artists. Can you share with us some stories of your favorite encounters or any interesting interactions that you'd like to share with us?
Do you have one? Is that what you?
No.
I have one. It's like a weird one. So I didn't actually get to interview this group, but it was Monsta X. We are sister companies with Build Series, if you've heard of that. Oh, yeah. And they had Monsta X on. And so because we were partnering with them, Tumblr got to ask them a question. And so I went up there and I was like, yeah. And I was like, what's the first thing that you think of when you hear the word Mambebe, their fan base? And I answered the question because he's like their English person. And he threw the question back at me and he was like, well, what do you think of when you think of Monsta X? And I'm standing here like, I have to be professional. I cannot say anything right now. And I was like, I think I'm like looking around the room. You can see my eyes darting in the video. And I'm like, I look at their album and I was like, Connection? And I just kind of went from there. And I was like, I want to add like a little bit of something. And so I think I said like something I listen to when I'm sad and I need it like to feel happy again. And I just thought it was like, I don't know, I was shaking in the video. You could probably see that too. But that was, I think, one of my favorite artist interactions.
I'm gonna say two. Well, okay, I can say one. Okay, so I met BTS twice, and they're my favorite group. The first time was just like I didn't even expect it. It was at KCON, New York, when they headlined in 2016. But like the second time was backstage at their tour. They performed at Prudential Center, and like you want to be professional, but you also like kind of want to be like, hey, I'm actually a fan. I'm not just
how do you balance that?
I'm not just here for work, but mostly for work. So I kind of just threw in like little tidbits. I was just like, I told J-Hope like because he was talking about, I forget what the question was exactly, but I was just like, oh, like Hope on the Street, because he has those like dance videos, and he was like, oh, you know that? And I was like, yeah, I do. And yeah, so that was one of my favorite moments. Just like that whole interview was just amazing. They were in their costumes for, oh my god, not today, sorry, with their like headbands and everything. It was, yeah. And then this year I interviewed Red Velvet at KCON New York again, and Bly, who isn't here, but
she'll be here next week.
She helped me like record it, and she thought it'd be funny to tell Red Velvet that like I know their dances, and like I do, but like I can't actually dance them. And she's just like, Sarah knows all your dances. And then Yuri was like which ones? And I was like, I'm not gonna do it. But then I just like did one of their dances from Russian Roulette, which is one of my favorite songs. And then Yuri was like, oh, Russian Roulette? And I was like, yeah. So that was like a bonding moment. It was just the gun part. It was like Russian Roulette.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Don't make me do it.
Get up.
But yeah, that was a bonding moment. And then I told Joy at the end of our interview, because she also does some acting, and she was in one, I forgot what it's called. Tempted. Thank you. Yeah, and I told her I really liked her in that, and she gave me a high five, and then I died in the end.
So are there any ideas that you have, or groups or artists that you would like to interview in the future, ideally, or any ideas that you have in general for, creating spaces for K-pop fans?
I really, really hope that Stray Kids comes back.
They're so cute.
My platform loves them. And I just want to like get them while they're still new and they're still like super energetic. I think that would make Tumblr very happy. So I would love to get them.
They were my favorite interview of KCON New York. They were because they're like relatively new, but not that they're excitement's gonna die down, but they were just like really excited to be there. And Felix and
Get those Australian accents.
who would I want to interview? EXO, eventually. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of room. I think like K-pop content's like really picking up on Buzzy, at least on the YouTube side. And like, I'm clearly a writer and not a video producer, so I want to bring more of that on the editorial side and just like still keep it fun, but kind of dig deeper than like videos allow things to be. Yeah, I don't know, anyone. Just send everyone, send everyone to the States. Have everyone have tours.
Wouldn't that be the dream?
Yeah,
Red
more
Velvet-
girl groups.
Yeah,
to be
Red
honest.
Velvet's coming
Yeah.
in February.
That's gonna
They're
be
coming
fun,
back
yeah.
tomorrow. Yeah, so Red Velvet's in
Ooh,
the
Blackpink.
audience.
Oh my God, Blackpink.
I want Blackpink back in our area. They were here and then they left. But they
Fashion
would be so
things.
much fun, yeah.
So I think, social media and K-pop are inseparable at this point. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing how social media continues to adapt to how fandoms work. And we will see. Hopefully we'll have another series next year about kind of the background scenes, like, the choreographers, the video producers and journalists. Those are people who are working behind the scenes to make this industry happen. So hope you guys look forward to that. Well, thank you for coming tonight. Follow us on social media. We're Korea Society Art on Twitter and the Korea Society on Instagram. We're going to be having lots of exciting new K-pop content, hopefully on our YouTube channel as well. I'd like to thank Bea and Sarah for being here again. And you can join us next Thursday. It's the final session for this year. It's called Gender Politics of K-pop. We're going to have Lai Francis, who is a journalist who works in this field, as well as Dr. Haejin Lee from NYU, who specializes in gender studies and K-pop. So thank you so much again. Let's give another round of applause for our speakers.